Coming up on Mountain News this morning, today marks the end of the veto session, which will pose some big questions for Governor Basher. And fans continue to react to John Calipari's departure to Arkansas.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:30 on Tuesday, April 9th. Now let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. 59 degrees outside our door with cloud cover issues here in Hazard, and temperatures around the rest of the region pretty much par for the course, except until you cross the state line and head on into Virginia. Clintwood and Grundy both at 48. 62 at Jackson, 55 at Middlesboro. It is 61. Good morning to you at Prestonsburg. It's also 61. You make your way back toward Monticello. All right, here we go. Satellite weather composite showing the increase of cloud covers we've made our way through last evening and into the overnight period. To the south we go. Moisture pushing into western and central Tennessee, and this moisture is tracking our way for the second half of our Tuesday. All right, so as we head through time for this morning, the risk of a shower or thunder shower, the more widespread rain and a thunder shower opportunity comes into play the second half of the day, and a forecast high in Hazard up to 64. All right, it's mild. How long can we keep the mild weather, and can we kind of nudge the rain out of the forecast? We'll let you know. First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. Millions of Americans could soon save thousands of dollars in student loan payments if President Biden has his way. But this is not the first time President Biden has tried to help out the borrowers. Nicole Skanga has more details from the White House.
Hello, Wisconsin.
President Biden visited the college town of Madison, Wisconsin to roll out a new plan for canceling thousands of dollars of student debt for millions of Americans.
The ability for working and middle-class folks to repay their student loans has become so burdensome that a lot can't repay it for even decades after being in school.
This plan focuses on high interest rates, providing relief for borrowers who now owe more than their original loan was worth. The loan forgiveness would apply to people who have been paying undergrad loans for 20 years or more, or grad student loans over the last 25 years. It also applies to those already eligible for loan forgiveness and for borrowers who can prove financial hardships prevent them from repaying their loans.
I will never stop to deliver student debt relief on hardworking Americans, and it's only in the interest of America that we do it. And again, it's for the good of our economy.
It's no coincidence the plan was unveiled in Wisconsin, one of the big swing states this election cycle. Student debt relief is a popular proposal among progressive voters. But some legal challenges are expected. The Supreme Court struck down a previous attempt by the Biden administration to forgive hundreds of millions in student loans.
The Supreme Court was very clear in saying that Biden's loan forgiveness policy was an overreach of his executive power and overreach of his authority.
This smaller, more targeted plan will still require a months-long public comment period before it can take effect, narrowing the chances it will be implemented before Election Day. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden administration put on a full-court press over the new policy, with Vice President Kamala Harris holding an event in Philadelphia Monday afternoon and Education Secretary Miguel Cardona holding an event in New York. Over here in the Commonwealth, more than 1,000 bills have been introduced this Kentucky legislative session. Some of the more talked about pieces of legislation are still waiting on Governor Andy Beshear's decision. The Commonwealth's 2024 budget is just one of them. Governor Basher can use what's called a line item veto, or the ability to cancel specific provisions of a bill. Basher has today to decide on those bills before lawmakers reconvene on Friday and Monday. Yesterday, Governor Basher did veto a bill that could have led to the breakup of JCPS. The governor said House Concurrent Bill 81 is aimed specifically at splitting up JCPS, and the bill has received criticism from both Republicans and Democrats. The bill would create a task force specifically to analyze districts with students of 75,000 people or more and explore options to make them run more efficiently, including the possibility of splitting up districts or moving boundaries. JCPS is the only district in Kentucky with 75,000 students, so critics say this clearly applies to JCPS. And Governor Andy Beshear is set to make a couple stops in eastern Kentucky today. The first will be at the Wayland Area Volunteer Fire Department in Floyd County. Beshear is set to arrive around 2 p.m. to meet with local leaders and partners to celebrate the building site of new high ground homes. The governor will also be in Pike County for a ribbon cutting at the new Pikeville Senior Citizen Center. That is scheduled to take place a little after 3:30 p.m. Later this week or next Monday, the state Senate will hold its first ever confirmation process for a Kentucky Education Commissioner. Lawrence County Superintendent Dr. Robbie Fletcher is the state school board choice. He's a Martin County native who has run the schools in Lawrence County almost 10 years. The legislature inserted a Senate confirmation process in the law in recent years, and this is the first time it's being used. Richmond police want you to be aware of what your children are doing online. They say internet crimes against children are becoming more and more common. Suzanne Howell is the Victim Service Community Outreach Coordinator for Richmond PD. She says even though kids make mistakes, the mistakes they make should not get to hurt them. Howell says the department is teaming up with KSP to host a forum educating parents and guardians about internet use among children.
Kind of giving them some tools to take home with them and, hopefully use to kind of keep their kids safe.
Howell says you should also remind your children to never give out personal information online and to know who they are interacting with. One Clay County business has been open for 3/4 of a century, and now officials are looking to expand. WYMT's RJ Johnson explains.
For nearly 75 years, Jackson's Manchester Lumber Company has sat on Railroad Avenue. However, that will soon change.
We are very excited. We can't wait to get into a new building. With a building that old, there's always a lot of problems, a lot of issues going on.
Clay County Judge Executive Tommy Harmon says the company means a lot to him and is excited to see it in a new place.
Before I got to be county judge, I done the carpenter work. My grandfather did it, my dad did it, and I did it, so I've grown up over there. And I was kind of mixed emotions about tearing the building up. She says she's going to keep it, so that's a great idea.
Manchester Mayor Steve Collins says the project will also bring new jobs to the city.
And I'm just glad to see it expand. It keeps economic development. They're going to hire more people. I'm sure you guys are going to have a different inventory list, which means more of our residents can stay here and buy what they need, not have to go to London or somewhere else or order it online.
Owner Donna Jackson says the most important part is that it will be better for those using their services.
Well, everybody we've talked to said they can't wait for us to get up here because it's going to be a lot better for our customers. It's going to be a lot better for our delivery people, a better location.
With hopes of staying around for another 75 years. In Manchester, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Jackson says they hope to be in the new location sometime between this fall and next spring. Now, Kentucky fans are anxiously awaiting more news about the future of the coaching position on the men's basketball team. Coach John Calipari's supposed departure for Arkansas was the main topic of discussion on Kentucky Sports Radio Monday morning. The popular radio program expanded to 3 hours and started at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. UK fans say they have mixed feelings about the situation, but many believe it's simply for the best.
Even though I love and appreciate Cal for everything he's done for us, I do think it's time to move on. I think this is the best case scenario for Kentucky, Coach Calipari, and Arkansas.
Fans we spoke to say they hope a new coach can be named and hired within the next week or so to help establish a roster for next year. And still to come, Billie Eilish announced her next album date and its title as fans await her return to the charts.
And weather-wise, a mild start to the day. An increase of cloud cover over the last several hours. Is that the precursor to some showers? We'll let you know. Your first Alert 7-day forecast is all coming up after this break.